Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are about to get started with Getting Started with Cloud, the first part of cloud assessment, or the assessment part of your cloud journey. Today, we have Larry Bose, Chief Cloud Platforms. We have Sanjay Maldra, Managing and Partner and Founder of Cloud Connect Partner, and Frank Lesko, VP of Service Sales Connect at Red River. Today, we're going to be doing our live event through Microsoft Teams live event. During this presentation, if you have any questions, we encourage you to ask them in the Q&A section on the right-hand side, where you'll see a little question mark. Feel free to ask questions, drop your name in there, let us know if you have any comments or questions throughout the presentation, and we will answer them at the end of it. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Larry.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you everybody for joining today for this next part of our series, which is a multi-part series. Today we're going to focus on cloud assessments, part of your journey to cloud. Later this month on October 30th, we'll also be doing one around cloud migration. So be sure to tune in and keep an eye out on our LinkedIn Red River page for how to join that one on October 30th. Everything we're going to cover today is applicable to the three market-leading cloud service providers, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. Our agenda for today, we're going to cover our cloud delivery process at Red River, what our framework is to get the journey started, what our cloud qualifications are, our delivery pillars of excellence, where all of our past performance and existing customers live today. We'll get into our packaged offering for Cloud Start with Sanjay over at CloudView Partners, who's a great partner of ours who has perfected the cloud assessment for our commercial customers over the past several years. We'll also talk about what the differences are for state and local government and federal customer assessments, as well as next steps with Frank Lesko, and then we'll jump into a little bit of Q&A. If you have questions throughout, feel free to drop them in the chat. Gary will be our moderator today, and he'll be able to surface those questions up as we go through the content. So at Red River, we have a cloud delivery process we call APMM. We do the assessments for our customers. This is an overview of total cost of operations, your capital expenditures or investments today, as well as your operational investments today. And then we help you make an end-to-end assessment of your environment, applications, hardware, software, contracts, and we'll get into all the details of that with Cloud Start. And then we also move into the next phase, which is the planning, which is the CSP cloud service provider that's the best fit for your organization, whether it's going to be a single CSP or a multi-cloud approach, hybrid cloud, or a private cloud tying into a CSP, or even private cloud tying into a private hosted cloud inside of a co-location provider. And then we move into the migration phase. And throughout the migration phase, this can be anything from traditional lift and shifts of VMware or Hyper-V into the major CSPs, or it could be application replatforming, rationalization, moving databases into PaaS models through optimization, whether it's SQL or Oracle, or moving into more SaaS offerings, which are more turnkey finished products for customers, which lower the cost of capital expenditure, but also lower the cost of operational expenditure, where you get to really focus on your customers, your mission, your business objectives, and manage your data securely in the cloud without having to worry about the underlying infrastructure or hypervisor or Windows Server or Linux server management. And then we're going to move into the managed phase, which is our managed services offering, which is all about how do you have service desk support for monitoring real-time security of your cloud environments. The 5 pillars that we focus on in the 3 leading CSPs within Red River, and we covered this on our last webcast, and we will continue to cover this because this is what we're known for in the marketplace. We're known for doing government cloud. We're known for deploying inside of AWS GovCloud or Microsoft Azure GovCloud, or even some of the FedRAMP services that are inside of the Google Cloud Platform fabric. That goes along the lines with our past performance with state and local government customers, as well as large federal government customers. The security aspect of it is focused more around FedRAMP, FISMA, NIST, HIPAA, all of the different buzzword bingo within the federal government, which are the stringent security accreditations that have to be met by the CSPs and the integrators making those move into the cloud for the government. Our next pillar is networking. As a 25-year value-added reseller, Red River has a great relationship with Cisco. We have done several Cisco deployments, so it's only natural that we do networking in the cloud, whether that's SD-WAN, express route direct connections, dark fiber, Megaport, PurePort, multi-path dark fiber capabilities into multi-CSPs, single point to multi-CSP ingress, egress, or VPN gateways for multi-cloud, or even end-user connections into those government clouds. Storage. As a 25-year VAR, heavy with NetApp as well as Dell EMC, NAS, and SAN, we're also very well versed and very experienced with past performance in backups, disaster recovery, business continuity of operations with our customers. So understanding what a multi-availability zone deployment looks like, or what a multi-region deployment looks like, those architectures through the well-architected framework from the CSPs, we do that all day, every day. Now we get into the last two pillars, which are some that customers really have a little bit of angst around. The DevOps. How do you modernize your development operations process for continuous integration, continuous development, pipeline maturation into the cloud with the services and features that are available from the three leading CSPs? We do that with customers today. We take them from on-premises DevOps or antiquated DevOps waterfall methodologies and move them more into agile methodology with Scrum capability, as well as process automation. Infrastructure as code is something we're big on at Red River. We focus heavily on removing the manual intervention for automated tasks or manual tasks and move them into an automated infrastructure as code methodology. And then the big one that kind of encompasses all of our pillars is migration. I talked about lift and shift before. Lift and shift is an easy button to get out of a colo or out of a data center, so to speak. But at the end of the day, there's really no huge cost savings you're going to see from a capital investment or expenditure standpoint by doing a lift and shift. I'd say Gartner says it's on average 20%. But at the end of the day, it's all about optimizing and walking the cloud cake once you get your data to the cloud and your machines and infrastructure to the cloud. And we do that through application rationalization, application replatforming, application refactoring, where we lift, tinker, shift the application into PaaS and SaaS models, and getting out of the infrastructure as a service layer, moving more into the platform as a service and the finished software as a service offerings. Of note, we also do VMware Cloud on AWS migrations for any federal and state and local government customers who have large capital investments with VMware. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our guest, Sanjay, and he's going to take you through what Cloud Start assessment and offering looks like from Red River.
Great. Thank you, Larry. Can you all hear me okay?
Hear you fine, Sanjay.
Great. Good morning, everyone. This is Sanjay Malzure, and like Larry said, we are a partner of Red River, and CloudView Partners and Red River over the last few years has partnered very closely and worked for a lot of federal agencies, SLED, commercial entities, and we started about 6 years ago, which in cloud time is quite a long time ago. And in 6 years, you all have seen how much the public cloud has really become the new normal. Back in 2015, when we were getting started, we would get into interesting conversations and debates with customers about whether cloud is right for them and whether it's secure. And just in really a very short time, the whole mindset and approach for clients has changed around the cloud, right? It's really the new normal, and now customers have to provide justification to their leadership if they're trying to build a new data center, or if they're trying to spin up capacity in-house to run new applications. So that's our background. So Cloud Start, over the last 6 years, we have worked with so many clients across public sector, across commercial, with cloud, right? Helping them get started, helping them make the right decisions with their cloud adoption journey, the migrations, post-migration optimization, all of that. And what we saw was across the spectrum, there were quite a few common needs, right? Clients would ask us the same questions. Clients would have the same pain. So we took all of that learning and we said, hey, we think we have an understanding of what clients would really need to get started the right way. And that's what became CloudStart, right? So CloudStart really came from just clients constantly asking us questions, constantly telling us where their pain points are, and constantly telling us what they're struggling with. And we took all of that and we made it into CloudStart, right? So that's really our best-selling solution, and it's primarily led using an assessment methodology. Okay, so we'll get into it a little bit more, and like Gary said, please type in your questions, because I'm sure as we go through this there will be quite a few questions here. So I'm going to go to the next slide here. Okay, so what is the driver, right? In the cloud domain, there are a lot of assessments out there, right? So Amazon Web Services does it, Microsoft does it, Google Professional Services does it, right? Really, everybody that is looking to help you with your cloud initiative has an assessment, right? So how are we different? We are very different in the sense that we actually start almost at the end. We say, if we do this right, what are the answers that need to come out of this engagement, right? So our assessments don't start from the technology stack. They don't start with the tools. They say, we sit down with your stakeholders and say, what is it that you don't know that you wish you knew, okay? So almost every one of our assessments starts with you telling us, hey, I don't know if cloud makes sense from a cost perspective, right? So no matter how normal cloud is, there are still quite a few question marks. There is still quite a little bit of uncertainty around, total cost, right? And how exactly that fits into your IT budget. I don't know if we are doing work from home the best way possible, right? This is a common driver in the last few months, right? Our entire world seems to have gone upside down, and work from home is the only way we can work now in large parts of the country. So a lot of clients have come to us and said, are we doing it right? Looks like we are doing it right, but I'm not sure. We have some pain around this, right? How can cloud help with this? Does it make sense to keep this data central, right? So we have clients that have 1, 2, 3, sometimes much more than that data centers, and they're not sure if they have the right number of data centers. Maybe they need fewer, right? Does it make sense to do DR in the cloud? Should we be doing this hardware upgrade that has come due, or should I just take this application to the cloud, right? Should we renew the software license and take on this expense, or should we just go Azure Managed SQL, right? Or Amazon Aurora? So all of these are how the assessment starts. You see what I'm saying? So we are coming to you and saying, hey, what are the top questions which, if you had accurate answers to, then you can succeed with what you need to do, right? So sometimes our assessments are done after AWS and Microsoft have done their workshops with the client, right? So they do a great job of giving you an understanding of their platforms, and then the client says, okay, got it. Now I kind of have a good understanding of the platform, of the cloud provider, but now I have some questions, right? How do I make this right for me, right? So our assessments typically kind of follow that engagement. So hopefully this gives you a sense for how we approach these assessments, right? So really, we like hard stakeholder questions. That's what this assessment is all about, right? If you have a hard question, that's what this assessment is looking to solve for you, right? So some more, again, real world examples of when we got engaged, right? So here, it's just clients wondering about the next steps, right? Hey, I wonder if all of my applications can migrate to the cloud, right? Or do I need a cloud adjacent colo, right? And if I do need a cloud adjacent colo, is it going to be a mix of 80%, 20%, or will I end up 50%, 50%, right? How long will the migration take? Is it going to be 6 weeks, or is it going to be 6 months or 18 months, right? Hey, I just heard about this migration tool. Have you guys seen it? Have you guys used it, right? What does my architecture need to look like, right? And you know, again, everybody here knows in the cloud, there is more than one way to accomplish the same objective, right? Which is great. It gives you a lot of flexibility, but it also creates questions on what is the right architecture for your organization for the steps you're about to take, right? So sometimes our assessments are focused on clients that already have important stuff going on in the cloud, right? So these assessments are focused on optimizing your existing cloud footprint. Hey, are we doing networking right in the cloud, right? So we have ExpressRoute, we have global reach, but I also have another data center in the West Coast. You know, am I connecting this all right? You know, is this the right way to do it? What about, you know, the new service that came out, etc. Are we cost optimized, right? So frequently when you go into the cloud, it may not be cost optimized to reduce migration complexity, but a year into it, you're saying, well, we are in the cloud now, we are okay, but there's got to be ways to optimize our costs and reduce our monthly bill, right? A lot of times you do it well and you start living in the cloud, and boom, 3 months later, there's a new service that absolutely is better for you, right? So how do you figure out how to adopt that, right? So security, one of the top drivers for our assessments, right? Are we completely secure? Hey, we are moving more important stuff into the cloud. How do we make sure that what we have in terms of governance and controls will extend into my new migration, right? So it's a common driver. So hopefully this gives you a sense for why clients come to us for assessments, because they are looking to get answers to their most important questions from practitioners who have done it, who have seen it, who have the scar tissue. Okay, so a couple of quick examples. These are just cloud starts that we completed in the last few weeks. So here was a company based out of Louisiana, architecture, engineering, and construction company. And they had been thinking about the cloud, but they had a data center and everything was working okay. The pandemic really hit them hard in the sense that Louisiana was one of the first states, believe it or not, to get affected, if you remember back in March, April, and they were forced to work from home, right? They were forced, meaning nobody could come into work. And they had some pain around that, and they wanted to do a few things, right? So here are the outcomes that they were pursuing. Dramatically improve collaboration. They wanted to use Microsoft Teams across the organization. There were pockets of people using it. They wanted to really drive adoption across the organization. They wanted more agility and innovation for the business. Business recoverability was a huge driver for them because they are in hurricane country, and you know, now if you look at the last 4 months, there have been so many hurricanes that have hit the Gulf Coast. They are right in that area, so they really wanted to not be vulnerable to their data center getting taken out or power being out for a long time. And finally, they wanted to use the opportunity from the pandemic and say, we don't want people to work from home only when there's a crisis. We want people to work from home even when things are normal, right? We just think that this will be more productive for our people. So those were the business drivers, right? Those were the outcomes that the leadership was focused on. So we went in, we did an assessment, and we created a roadmap for them on how the cloud might be able to, sorry, I'm having some. Okay, there you go. So to achieve these objectives, our assessment looked at their current state, looked at their application portfolio, looked at how they did work from home today, and we created an entire roadmap that also took them into the cloud. One of their important considerations was, hey, if we did this, if cloud is in fact right for us, and if we did this, how do we know we won't double our costs, right? Because clearly they did not want that. So we did a very detailed cost analysis, and what came out of that was their status quo, right? What they were spending on an annualized basis, just for their hardware, for their software, for their networking, for their services, was something like that, right, on the left side. And then if they did this transformation, and if they undertook this journey of being completely in the cloud, then what that journey looks like. This was very important for the executive team because they wanted to make sure that the business financial model could support, this transformation, right? So through the analysis, what came out was that, really once the transformation is complete, they would be able to go back to pretty much what they were spending earlier, right? This was important for them to see, and this came out from the detailed analysis that we did as part of the assessment. Another recent example, this is a wealth management company out of Manhattan. They have an office where hundreds of people would come into work every day in Madison Avenue, right? So likely one of the most expensive, real estates in the country. And that's how they did business is people would come in, would commute into New York City, and they would come into the office. And again, they were affected by the pandemic, and they said, well, everybody's working from home. And guess what? Our clients are still being taken care of. Our business is still okay. So they said to us, we're not sure we need this office for hundreds of people. We'll keep a small office for clients, right, and meetings, but I'm not sure we need to pay Madison Avenue rents. So they said, help us understand if we can go to a more distributed office architecture, right? Smaller offices spread across the tri-state area, and really be able to work from home as if you're sitting in the office, right? Networking constraints, security constraints, all of that. And this is a financial services organization, so they had client information and confidentiality and security were the most important criteria, right? So we did the assessment, kind of put a plan together, and figured out how they can in fact succeed without having a large office on Madison Avenue, right? So just the potential rent savings were hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So it's not even a small amount, right? So again, hopefully this gives you a sense for how we come at these assessments. We are very focused on solving your most important business challenge, and everything else kind of comes from that. Okay, so a little bit more detail on how we do the assessment. We start with the discovery, right? And like I've been sharing for the last many minutes, we sit down with your leadership, with your key stakeholders, and say, what is the win for your business? Okay, you'll be surprised how the cloud initiative is a little bit different if you're pursuing resilience as a goal versus, hey, I need to have great infrastructure so we can build a modern application, right? So it's an important consideration, right? It's the same cloud, it's the same set of capabilities, but depending on your business goal, your adoption journey needs to look different, right? If you're pursuing resilience, disaster recovery, versus you're pursuing, I need a modern software-driven infrastructure stack for my applications, your journey is going to be different, right? And that's why we always start with the with the business driver. Cloud costs, we talked about this quite a bit, right? So what your cloud costs are likely to be on day 1 in the cloud versus day 365 versus day 730, right? They're all going to be a little bit different. It's important to have clarity for that journey so that you can execute that journey with confidence. Current state, right? So this is a lot of clients are very focused on this part of the assessment, right? Which is, hey, my workload analysis, doing the application rationalization, understanding what can migrate to the cloud safely, what is going to be harder to migrate to the cloud, and is there any re-architecture required for the application, and how do I support my application once it moves into the cloud, right? So what we have seen is a lot of clients are focused on this aspect of their cloud journey. It's clearly very important and clearly a big part of what we accomplish as part of the assessment. And there is a lot of uncertainty, mainly related to technology complexity, related to your technical debt, right? We all know that our data centers have some gremlins in them. Our applications have some gremlins in them. There is the older applications. There's applications kind of hanging by a thread, and what happens to them if you just lift and shift them into the cloud, right? So what exactly are the preparatory steps you need to take so that you can succeed with that? Application rationalization, right? So what are the key planning steps you need to take in preparation for migrations, right? What are the right cloud services? What are the right tools? There's a lot of great tools out there, including the ones provided by AWS and Microsoft and third-party tools. What are the pros and cons of using these different tools? What are all these tools good at? They're all good at slightly different things, right? And one of the recent application rationalizations that we are still not finished with that. We are almost done, but we were going through about 2 data centers and about 2,000 servers and doing the application rationalization. And one of the IT directors said to us, they said, Sanjay, we've already won, right? This is great. I said, wait a minute, we're not done yet. They said, look, here is 300 servers that can be decomped, right? So that was a big win for them, because guess what? They don't need to be migrated. They don't need to have that compute and power being consumed. So one of the big wins that comes out of the assessment from the current state application rationalization is really, if you have servers that are no longer needed, right? Those get identified, which is great. Migration planning, right? So this is again top of mind for clients, right? What does the plan need to look like? We typically start, a migration plan. There is great amount of literature out there now on just how other organizations of your size have done this, what are the lessons learned and all of that, right? So the proof of concept, the pilot, and then the migration waves. So what does that migration plan need to look like? So this is another important outcome that comes out of the assessment, where you have clarity on what the migration plan looks like for you, right? Clear timeline. Will this take you 6 weeks or will this take you 18 months, right? So you need to know that with some degree of confidence, so that you can project costs, you can understand the type of skill sets you need to execute on this, and also be ready for what comes after migration, right? How do you increase velocity of your migrations? How do you stay conservative with certain phases because of, again, because maybe there's complexity there, maybe there is events happening in your business where you need to either pause or go really slow with migrations. Right now, we are getting ready to do some migrations for a large retail company, and right now retail this is prime time for them, right? The next 8 weeks or so. So really we are being very conservative with what we are doing there. So that's just an example of how your migration plan needs to align with whatever's going on with your business, the right tools, right? So this is again very important because there's a lot of tools out there, and sometimes you don't need anything too sophisticated to succeed with your migration, and sometimes you really have to think through the right tool set to get the migration accomplished, right? So and if there's a migration tool out there, we've had a chance to use it and develop experience and familiarity with it. Most importantly, change management, right? So you all understand this. This is such a important part of succeeding with your transformation, with your cloud migrations. The project management organization, having leadership alignment, making sure that all your stakeholders are aligned and there is buy-in and there is familiarity and training, right? So how do you plan for all of that? So we guide you based on the size of your organization, based on what you're looking to accomplish with your cloud journey. Right? So all of that kind of goes into the migration planning. So really, Cloud Start, what you get out of it is, on the other side of it, you emerge with clarity on how to get to your highest priority wins, right? So what are the biggest wins if you execute this journey well, right? We start with that and provide you clarity on that roadmap to what's the straight line from here to there. Okay, Larry, I'm gonna turn this back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Sanjay. So as Sanjay mentioned, Cloud Start is a great fixed price offering that we have here within the company for our customers as they want to rationalize and look through and do discovery of their current IT footprint and investments and migrate workloads into a major cloud provider. For our state, local government, and federal customers, we understand that some of the SaaS tools that are used today to collect data through agent or agentless discovery in your environments won't meet the security requirements of your organization. That said, we do have past performance and experience to use our Red River Consulting Services organization to come in with behind your firewall on-premises tools to do the discovery of the data, the workloads, and walk through all the applications, the infrastructure. And that's about 75% of the journey, right? Collecting the data and then rationalizing it. The other 25% is done through workshop interviews with a framework we have in order to target CSP, create the plans, the features, the functions that'll go into the CSP that'll meet your security requirements, whether it's state and local government adhering to NIST or federal government having to adhere to HIPAA for healthcare, DFAR, CGIS, ITAR, FedRAMP, and even the newly released CMMC for our commercial customers who do DoD contracting work. They have to adhere to the CMMC security guidelines. We have the past performance and experience around those areas in order to help you have a successful cloud migration. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Frank Lesko, our Vice President of Services Sales at Red River. Frank, do you want to bring us home? Frank,
I absolutely can. I absolutely can, Larry. Yeah, thank you so much, Larry. Sanjay, thank you so much for the presentation today. I can tell you, coming from my perspective, instills a ton of confidence in me and my entire sales organization, and knowing, the level of capabilities we have, the thoughtfulness that's really been put behind this program and this offering. I know it's got great deliverables, and I think customers will greatly appreciate this. As the Vice President of Services Sales for Red River, it's kind of my job to help you get started, on this transformative journey. And honestly, I think it's kind of starts with, the partner selection too, and I want to give you the confidence that in our capabilities, our incredibly healthy financial position today at Red River. In spite of this global pandemic, we've been fortunate to be in a great position this year and do and probably the best position this company has ever been with. So knowing that should bring some comfort to our customers and prospects out there who are interested in partnering with us. Incredible management structure. Some of the folks you're meeting here today, along with strong business skills, compliance know-how, and then this whole idea of kind of these adjacent technologies and capabilities. It doesn't stop at Cloud Start, right? It continues on down the journey to planning capabilities, migration capabilities, what Larry mentioned earlier, assessment, planning, migration, and management. So we bring all of that to the table here, right? Including kind of the security overlay. That's a very important aspect of any engagement that you have with your providers. So I want to build that trust with you. I want you to feel confident that we bring all of that to the table. And with that, this offering that I want to kind of introduce you to, while we feel like Cloud Start is incredibly competitive right out of the gate with our standard list pricing, I think we've bounced that, across up against a number of different competitors in the past. We feel very good about, even our list price. We still want to offer something to you. So we, as for taking your time out today, for participating in this webinar, anyone that has participated in this would like to take us up on a 50% off offering. As you can see up here, that ranges anywhere from 50 servers on up to 1,000. This is not an abridged version. This is the full comprehensive, Cloud Start program delivered by the CloudView partners. But just for our appreciation, to extend our appreciation to you, we'd love to offer this opportunity to each and every one of you. Okay. So again, you can reach us at connect@redriver.com. Again, my name is Frank Lusko. I'm the VP of Services Sales. Feel free to reach out to me. And if there are any other questions, Gary, I think maybe I'll just move on into the Q&A portion of the presentation and get those answered and then wrap it up for the afternoon.
Right on. Thank you so much, Frank. Yeah, we do have a few questions in the queue. I believe one for each of you guys. I think it's Sanjay. How long does it take to deliver a Cloud Start?
Okay, thank you, Gary. Yeah, so what we have seen is it really depends on the scope, which is what you're looking to get out of the engagement, right? Some of our Cloud Start engagements are bigger because the client is looking for a lot of answers, right? They want clarity on cost. They want clarity on cloud architecture. They want clarity on application rationalization. And they want clarity on what the post-migration operations structure needs to look like, right? So those could run 8 to 10 weeks. We have also done Cloud Starts that are much smaller, where the client is looking for one answer. Hey, how do I use serverless for this application? Can you come in, take a look at my application architecture and see if Lambda is a good fit, right? So that's, we did that in 1 week, right? So it varies. It really is aligned to what you're looking to get out of it. Typical Cloud Start is 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, that's our typical Cloud Start engagement, about 4 weeks.
Okay, thank you so much. The second question we have, I'm going to shoot this over to Larry. Can Red River help us migrate multiple applications after the cloud assessment?
Yeah, without a doubt. So not only do we, we've talked about assessments today. It's one of the pillars of our processes. But Red River is an end-to-end cloud provider. So not only do we do the migration assessments and the migrations and managed services and plans, we also do the resell. So if you're paying list prices for Amazon or Microsoft or Google today, we can actually save you money if you want to transact the resell through Red River. But as far as the question itself, we've got past performance doing several application migrations, whether it's large federal government applications. If you go to our website, redriver.com, you click on the capabilities and cloud, you'll actually see some of those past performance customer use cases where we've taken applications that were on premises across multiple data centers for disaster recovery and moved them into the government clouds or even commercial clouds that transact billions of dollars a year for those customers. So we do everything from large scale integrator type large scale programs for application migration, architectures, deployment, modernization of applications, all the way down to I've got 5 users, I've got to become CMMC compliant, I'm running on a server that's in our corporate office today. How do I get to cloud in a secure fashion and migrate my applications and tie in securely all my software as a service providers, whether it's ServiceNow or Salesforce? We have past performance in all of that. So yes, we can migrate multiple applications, we can refactor them, or if you even are an ISV and you want to migrate your application into a more secure environment or have us take a look, we do that today, Gary.
All right, perfect. And the last question we have here, kind of maybe a wrap up for everybody, is after the migration, can Red River help us manage and monitor the new cloud environment?
I'll go ahead and take that one, Gary. Yeah, we absolutely can. I mean, like as I mentioned, we have built a kind of a comprehensive service around cloud, including managed services. So introducing some sophisticated, comprehensive tool sets to manage the environment. You know, think of your typical cloud server management capabilities, kind of that table stakes stuff that we will absolutely do, but then get into more advanced service capabilities like spend optimization, governance, compliance, of course, security across the entire infrastructure. So yes, we absolutely can. We can tailor it to those specific needs. Where we have service centers here in Chantilly, Virginia, Claremont, New Hampshire. We'll be extending those services out west to very soon, all the way out to Sacramento, California. At some point, we're hiring and investing in incredible talent, to support our cloud environments. So, yeah, Red River is making a big, strong push and an investment in all phases of your cloud journey. Okay, and if I may mention too. The next 2 webinars that we have scheduled, the migration webinar and a cloud management webinar, are scheduled here soon. So our migration webinar will be held on October 30th, okay, at the end of this month. And then our managed services webinar for cloud will be on November 20th. So we'd be thrilled to see you again at either one of those or both, solution webinars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank. Yes, a reminder is that we do have a few webinars coming up in the near future. And a reminder for everybody that has joined us today, we will be sending out a recording of the presentation as well as the slide decks. I will also have links to the next webinars as well inside those emails. Well, with that, we'll wrap it up today. Larry, Sanjay, Frank, thank you so much for your time. If anybody has any last remarks, please share them now.
No, just a thank you to everybody for taking their time out today to join us. Appreciate that very much. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it. Thank you, everyone.